Hi there, this is the Moaning Show episode 2 with me, HCD Rules 0001, and this time I'd like to talk about computer games or video games. Now, to look at me you'd say that guy plays a lot of video games, and you'd be absolutely correct about that. But anyway, let's get on with the moaning. That's what this show is all about. Now, the first thing I'd like to moan about is the prices of video games. The first thing that I've noticed just recently in the shops is that computer games are slowly but surely reaching £45 or more for a game, which, to be honest, is a rather expensive hobby. We're coming up to Christmas, and so like if you've got 2 or 3 kids and they want 2 different games each, that's a lot of money even before you've started. So, you know, let's just say that video games are an expensive hobby. But that's if you get specific versions of computer games. I know for a fact that there are specialised versions and standardised versions these days. That seems to happen more and more. For instance, there's the Batman Arkham City game coming out in the next couple of weeks, and that, for the standard version, is around about £40 to £45, depending on where you're shopping. But there are specific versions that you can get a figurine and an art book with it, or, you know, a display model for the case or something like that. That adds £10 to £20 on top of the £40 that you would spend originally if you were just getting the normal game. I myself use a specific website where you can get very good reductions in price, and you also get your game delivered on or slightly before the release date, which is a very good thing in my eyes. If anyone's interested, they can email me on themoaningshow@yahoo.co.uk. The link will be in the video description for messages about the show anyway, but if anyone is interested, just email me on that link and I will email you the link to the site with these reductions. It's a well-known site in my opinion, but if you don't know it, it may save you 10-15 quid per game. The next thing I have to moan about, or I want to moan about, is the fact of the online play. Now, I don't technically have a problem with online play. I have a broadband internet connection, but I do get called to do various jobs / chores around the house, which basically means I can't go online until everyone's gone to bed, which is after 10 o'clock at night. The thing I have a problem about online play is that some people might not have a broadband internet connection. It's a low number of people, I would suggest, these days, but there are significant pieces of games where the focus is on the online multiplayer. Take Modern Warfare, for instance, one of the so-called greatest games of all time. Its main energies are focused into the online multiplayer. Now, you'd be shocked when I tell you this, but I have played about a minute of Modern Warfare / Call of Duty. I cannot stand first-person shoot-em-ups. I think it'd be a lot better game if it was a third-person, where you're just behind them, say to the left, like a Resident Evil or something like that. But the developers of computer games these days seem to be more focused on the multiplayer online side of things than they are on the single player. Now, before, say, PlayStation 2 in 2001 to 2004, let's just say, games were sort of focused on single player to split screen player, which is a little bit disappointing in my view. We're not getting as much for our money single player missions or dual player missions, and I think games are falling short of their initial requirement, which was back in the day you got a game for a story or the gameplay or who's in it, like a Mario, a Sonic, or whatever, and you went on from there without worrying about the online multiplayer. Why is it so blooming important? I don't know. Now, next one's going to bring up a few concerns. Downloadable content, or better known these days as DLC. You buy a game, the longevity of a game can be increased. For instance, Resident Evil 5 on the PlayStation 3 specifically, with downloadable content, there are significant additions to a game that can extend its life. As I say, with Resident Evil 5, downloadable content extended the game's lifespan about 2 years after the thing's been released. But that has all stopped now, but it's still quite a good game in my opinion. But DLC can be very, very expensive. I'm talking not one developer, but let's take a game for example that came out this year and has had quite a bit of DLC on it. Mortal Kombat came out in May of the year, and from about, say, June, after the PlayStation problems was all sorted out and everything was back up again, there was downloadable content for Mortal Kombat on the PlayStation 3, and it was rather expensive considering that you paid 40 quid for the game, less as far as I'm concerned. You paid 40 quid for the game, and extra characters and backgrounds and different costumes and things could have led you to spend over, say, another 15-20 quid. And to be honest, just 15 quid for extra costumes and extra characters is quite a bit of money, especially for someone in my position who's not working at the moment. Another thing I'd like to complain about is the fact that there seems to be a lot of remakes, Mortal Kombat just being one of them. Now, granted, these remakes do seem to be highly needed as far as storyline is concerned, and some remakes, if done properly, can be very, very good games. But it seems as though developers are losing ideas, so they're thinking, oh, well, what can we do now? Oh no, let's make a blood remake. So, you know, there's plus points and minus points for that, as well as DLC. You know, you've got extensions to a game's lifespan, you've got the potential for better graphics and maybe the addition of, say, a new weapon that's just been created in the real world being added in. But as far as remakes go, the majority of them are not as good as their originals. One that is fairly good is Metal Gear Solid: The Twin Snakes on the Nintendo GameCube. Cinematic wise, there's no doubt the Twin Snakes is a heck of a lot better than the original PlayStation 1 version. I mean, it has to be. The system's got 3 times the power. But as far as remakes are concerned, what's the point in some of them, you know? Another thing I'd like to talk about are trophies and achievements, specifically on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Trophies and achievements are ways of getting gamers to concentrate on a certain game if they're that way inclined, and I'll talk more about that later. Trophies and achievements, I think, were created to stop gamers sharing saves, which seems very, very pessimistic by game developers. Say if you're a casual gamer, and I myself consider to be a little bit more than a casual gamer, to say I'm king of a video game is a huge overstatement. But say like if you're a casual gamer and you're quite good at a video game, but you're not good enough to A, see the end of it, or B, you keep getting killed in the first 5 minutes, but you do like the storylines of the games. A save file from somebody else could actually bring forward to the point where you want to be with a specific weapon that you haven't either got, or extra, bonus things like that. Trophies and achievements have completely obliterated that thought process. Now, I know there are some players out there that would probably hack something, and that's probably what these trophies and achievements were created for, specifically with the trouble that Sony and PlayStation have had this year. But there is a huge yay for other people's save states to maybe do things on a difficulty that you're not quite up to speed with yet. Or, for instance, the edit files and option files on, say, Pro Evo, the football game, where you can use somebody else's save state to have all the correct advertising and clothing for teams. It's a big plus point. And the minus point is obviously the fact that with trophies and achievements you can't do that. So, I don't know. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is 100% completists. Now, if you are a 100% completist, well done. Absolutely fantastic. But there are some of us that when we've completed a story mode, or when we've unlocked a weapon or something like that, we're satisfied with what we've got. We're happy to go about a game with who we are, what we've got, who we're with character wise, or what costume there is character wise. So we don't actually want to play it again, or we don't want to finish it to 100%. There are guys saying, oh yeah, I've got 100%, I'm the fucking man of bees fucking knees, Yeah, you're a good gamer if you've completed a game 100%. But are you a bad gamer if you've only completed story mode? Basically, 100% completists are, in my opinion, show-offs. If you completed a game 100%, good on you. It's not going to affect me any time soon. But 100% completists, yeah, show-offs, in my opinion. And it's all to do with how much time you've actually got to spend playing video games and things like that. So that's about it for this edition of The Moaning Show. If you want to send me any comments and suggestions about what you want me to moan about, or things that you actually want to moan about, I'd be happy to hear them. As I say, the email address for the show is going to be at the bottom of the screen, and I hope you've somewhat enjoyed it. I do have a lot to learn when it comes to this sort of stuff, but as I say, that's episode 2 of The Moaning Show, and that's it.